So welcome to the second part of the three-part video tutorial where I get to edit a music video and show you how I go about it. All right, so this is basically everything after I was done with the cuts. Okay, so let me just mute this and keep it silent. All right, so you notice that there are a lot of cuts in here, and if I expand it, you notice that there's even some more in there, and it's lengthier than if it's collapsed this way. All right, okay, so you notice that through and through I have a lot of cuts in there like that. So let me play just one row so you notice what happens throughout. Okay, so there are some quick cuts, others are quite delayed and all that, so that's about that. So in this particular video, what we're going to do is we are going to add some effects and fix the framing. If we have to scale in, if we have to bring in a frame and all that, we're going to do that. But I have a standard frame that I've created in Photoshop that I'm going to place in here to give a uniform frame throughout the entire video. Okay, so I'm going to import it in here. So I'm going to look for curved, right, edged frame, and I'm gonna pull it into the media pool just like so. All right, so I have it over here. I'm gonna make sure that I don't have any footage lined up on this track. Think that's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this curved edge frame file, which is actually in JPEG. I'm gonna pull it all the way to the end of the video because I have plans of making it the entire frame or the default frame for the whole video. Okay, all right, so you don't notice because it is not in the same size as the frame size. I'm going to scale to frame size and it joins in the shot, and you see how nice this looks. All right, so I created this easily in Photoshop. I think I'm going to leave in the description a link to where you can get this frame. All right, so check it out. All right, so that's actually the frame I'm going to be using. All right, and you notice that it covers a majority of the shots. Okay, and it frames it perfectly well, unlike before when it was like this. Is that the frame size is not as equal as the frame size of my program or my sequence. Okay, so having this curved edge frame in there fixes everything and makes it uniform throughout to the end. Okay, so I'm actually glad about that. And what I'm gonna do is, if I need to rescale or reposition, I'll have the luxury and the comfort to do it right now. But I'm very happy about the edges now. It looks uniform and much more, put together, if I should say. Okay, so let's quickly add the effects. All right, so I'm gonna have to have an aid of the music, but I'm gonna reduce it all the way so it doesn't conflict with my speech. All right, so let's listen.
I don't want to be a product of my environment.
All right, so through this beginning, all right, I'm going to have to add some dip in and dip out. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to effects and I'm going to type dip. So dip to black. So I'm going to use over here to see if it works. Okay, I think it works fine. I'm going to add one more over here. Okay, so you notice that these cuts are actually effects on their own, even though the same shot, but I just cut in between them and join them back. All right, so trimming some parts from the middle and cutting it to the beat made this work. So listen to it and just see for yourself how the cuts make sense or syncs with the music. All right, so I think it's just fine. But just at this edge, I'm going to add yet another dip to black, and I'll reduce the length of the effect. Okay. All right, so it makes sense. I have a majority of my presets downloaded actually. These are not the custom default presets that you have already in Premiere Pro. So you're going to have a plethora of effects if you want to also, add a lot more effect than what you normally get with Premiere Pro when you install it. Okay, so I have in out, which I normally use often. So the in out clip 2 is going to begin at the front. Okay, right, so you notice that there's some portions here where the frame doesn't hit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to add an adjustment layer. Okay, place it right on top over here. Gonna drag it all the way to the end, and I'm gonna add a crop. All right, so what this crop is going to do is it's going to fix these areas. Okay, all right, so crop from top, gonna make it, let's say 10. I think 10 is too much. Let's make it, let's say 6. Yeah, so that doesn't actually interfere with my existing frame. Or probably let's say 4. Okay, okay, and the bottom as well 4, and it fixes that. So I'm not gonna have that issue ever again. All right, okay, all right, so that's fixed. So my first effect that I added over here, the first verse. All right, so notice that there's a push in. Right, cool. So I love that effect. I'm gonna add several more to it, and okay, I'm gonna add something that we call blur to it. Okay, cool. So that's another effect, like how it blurs into it, and I'm gonna add yet another blur to the end. All right, so where there are hits like all right, where there are multiple hits over there in the beat, what I'm gonna do is I am going to add something I call I think it's up tempo. Yes, up tempo punch. It's an effect that's going to allow me to punch in according to the beat. All right, so I think it's in this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these area. So when this area is separated from the stretch, I'm going to do is I'm going to add the tempo, because the up tempo, I mean, because that's where it actually makes sense. So let's play it and see if it works. All right, it begins too early. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to extend these ones, the transform, then I'm going to drag it into the center. I think that's where the beat begins. All right, so let's listen to it one more time. I think it's almost at this edge rather, so this is where I begin. All right, so let's drag it to the right. Okay, all right, and it actually continues into this other shot, so I'm gonna equally add the same thing in here, and let's see. Okay, all right, okay, it recedes into this part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to equally do the same thing as I did before, stretch and reposition these keyframes, but this time I'm going to duplicate them. So I'm going to highlight them and hit Alt and drag on top of it to duplicate them, right? But because it recedes and it was slowing down, I'm not going to have the keyframes so tightly close to each other, so I'm going to reduce them by taking what's in between. Okay, okay, so I think this works. So let's play back and see. I feel like I want to upside down this particular shot, but somewhere over here in the center. So what I've done is I've created a cut, and I'm just going to rotate. It's very simple. I'm just going to rotate it all the way to 180 degrees. All right, 180 degrees, and this is what's going to happen. All right, so it's just a very simple effect that you can add. Okay, all right, if I like, I wouldn't make it stay all the way to the end of that particular clip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send it back to as it was, and it only affects the middle part. So let's see how it works. Okay. All right, so it's just a quick one. All right, and there's something I'm going to actually apply to almost a bigger portion of this video. Okay. All right, so where we have this flip, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an effect that I really love a whole lot. I think that's called glow. Okay, so glow edits, I'm going to drag it in here. Then, all right, I really love it, but I don't love the purple color to it. I think I'm going to have to resort to something like green, because of the green nature in the background. So let's say something like this. It's gonna help. So let's play. All right. Okay, so there are some hits or beats in there like that again. So yet again, I'm gonna add some up tempo to it. Then listen to it and see if it really syncs. Okay, so it's in the center somewhere. So equally, as you remember, gonna open this and drag it all the way through to the middle somewhere over here. Listen to it. Starts actually from here. That was quite too far away. Okay, good. Okay. So from here, I'm going to add miscellaneous effects to it, as many as I can. And that's typically how I add effects to my music videos. I cut to the beat, I make sure the effects actually sync with the beat, all right? And if I have to add some desaturation or take out some colors and all that, that's going to actually be in the third video, which is the last of this 3-part video, okay? I'm going to color grade and see how the colors will work best. All right, so basically that's how I actually add effects to my video. Some of them I actually affect the clips using motion, position, scale, rotation as I want, and most often than not I will add some effects that I've downloaded to my clips, all right, just to make things much easier and faster for me. So I have a whole lot of effects in here, and I'm going to actually apply it across the entire video. All right, okay, so basically that's what this is all about. Thank you very much for watching this video to the very end. I'm gonna see you in the third one, which is the last, and that's where I'm going to actually color grade. I have my color grading LUTs up for grabs actually on my YouTube channel. Tons and tons of videos that I've put out here where you have a link that you can click on to go download a LUT. So I'm going to use one of them, and I'm going to also equally add in the description below in the third video all the links to get all the LUTs that I've provided here on my YouTube channel. So don't miss out on the third one. Have a wonderful day. See ya.